All in Sports Network. We love sports.
Coming to you from the land of barbecue, Lone Stars, and Longhorns, this is All In Colts, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back in. It's time once again to look at Colts players and their fantasy stats and projections in our Colts Fantasy Stable. So, let's go. All In Colts.
Yes, I'm Kevin. This is my son Liam, and we are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Colts as a part of the Rogue Media Sports Network.
Yep.
We have a Colts Corner Bulletin.
We do have a Colts
Are you ready?
Corner Bulletin. Yep. Let's hear it.
You want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start it. Quiddy and
All right.
Kenny Moore did not practice on Wednesday, and the Colts will be monitoring their progress to see how they progress throughout the week. Better, worse.
Yep. And Jaylon Jones was named the AFC Defensive Player of the Week. There's first ever 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome. Good performance from him. Super happy to see him get that.
Yep. Also, congratulations to you. You
Thank you. Yep.
made or were invited. Is that how it was? You were invited to join the. I mean, you got 2 invitations, but so you don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You were invited to join a flag football team at your college there.
Yep. Practice is soon for that.
Yeah. And then you were invited as well, I think, to the club volleyball, the volleyball club, the
club volleyball.
Club volleyball. Yeah.
Yep.
Is this
club volleyball team?
Is this a men's volleyball club or
just men's?
Not a
no co-ed, just men.
So it's just a strictly men's volleyball. Your college is looking to expand into doing men's collegiate level.
Now,
volleyball.
I don't know if it's the college itself or if it's the guys trying to get it there.
Okay.
But either way, it's still a push for something.
Chicken or egg, whether you get the horse before the cart, you know what? It all drives that direction, right?
Yeah.
So you were
pretty loaded for sports right now. Pretty loaded for sports right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, so are we. That's what we do, and this is the thing, and
sports is kind of just my thing. So
sports has always played a big role in everything that we do. The other, when we visited you on family weekend, I left and I told your mom that said what we did is we went to a game, and then we went to another game. We went to 2 different sports with you to watch them. And then we went and we watched you play sports.
Yeah.
And so we pretty much did everything that we've done your whole life. Just now you're a man-child. And
now I'm just older. Just sports, everything. I mean, that's kind of how it is. I wouldn't want it any other way, though. I love sports. As
long as studies come first.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
By the way,
very important.
I did good on a test.
So in the middle of all your sports, you can come out with the tape and the wrap, and you can start wrapping ankles and because you're going to school for PT and everything.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah. By the way, I did good on a test today. Proud of myself. It was 45 questions too.
Okay.
And you had like 15 minutes to use your notes. So I was trying to get everything done within that 15 minutes. So I didn't have to do anything without my notes, even though I hardly used my notes, but they were there just in case.
There you go. What class?
Old Testament. So
Old Testament.
It's my favorite class. So
well, once again, maybe just in addition to the sports, we did just enough there with the Bible and everything, straight and narrow and all that. So, hey, Jake.
Yeah, Jake is go to the bathroom, I guess. I don't know. Something.
All right.
Okay.
We played each other in
Yes,
fantasy.
we did. Yeah.
This week.
Yep.
You
didn't do so hot.
Well, I put Rashid Shaheed in. He had done really good.
You didn't even make triple digits, did you?
He did really. I did.
Okay.
I did. It's barely. It's like
barely. Okay.
I
think I had like 136, something like that.
You had 128 or something. I had 104. It was not bad.
Okay.
I mean,
that's still a whole fantasy player.
Once again, situational. If situational things come into play here, I had Jaden Daniels as my quarterback, sir. If you factor in the fact that no rookie had ever done what he had ever done before in the NFL, it's got to count for some more points in there.
No.
Gotta. The fact that nobody, like, I don't know if you saw, like, RG3 had this great thing about telling Chicago Bears fans it's not necessary. It's too early to panic on Caleb Williams, but yet the reason that they are panicking about Caleb Williams is the fact that there was a level of expectation for him and not for Jaden Daniels, and that yet Jaden Daniels is seeming to blow him out of the water after 3 games. Agreed, 3 games, and
the Commanders, I would say, are a better team overall as well.
Really? You think so? I mean,
say
Keenan
so.
Allen's coming back this week, so that's got to mean something. But, like, you still got DJ Moore, you got Komet, you got,
what is
like
everyone's like, oh my goodness, DJ Moore is good. Yeah, okay, he's shown some bright spots, but what has he shown? Like, I don't know. Maybe he just hasn't been on like a good team.
It also doesn't help that the guy you sold for a 6th-round pick before the draft, instead of hanging on to him and making people at least wait and think you might go that direction with Justin Fields, you sold him and now he's 3-0. But it's like I said since before the draft, Caleb Williams could be a great quarterback, but he went to the Bears.
Yep. Historical, not a great quarterback place to be.
Not at all.
And that's been over 100 years of that. So,
yeah.
Yep. Okay, on to our quarterback in fantasy. This past week, he had 5 points. Obviously, not that great. He threw 2 interceptions. He threw barely over a buck. So, I mean, and he ran for a decent amount, but like running doesn't count as much as passing does if you're a quarterback. So obviously he didn't do that great. Not a great showing for him. I expected more out of him, especially against the Bears. So it was just a lot of running the ball. But this next week he's projected to get, I think the exact was 15.9, but I just had 16 points. And they're playing the Steelers, who I would say have a better defense than the Bears. So I don't know if I would play him this week with all the, the weird balls that he's been throwing, like all the interceptions and stuff. We praised him for not throwing a ton of interceptions last year, but this year's kind of been the opposite. At least he's not getting hurt, and he's still a deep threat. Like, you still got to cover everyone because he can still put it wherever. So
I had a question.
Okay.
And this is not necessarily fantasy related, but since we're focused simply on AR at this point, it gives me a good chance to ask this question. Are you worried? Because there seems to be some worry within the Colts fandom community about where this is headed and how this is going. Are you worried, either in the short term or the long term? Answer this however you want. Answer both ways if you want. Are you worried at all about Anthony Richardson and what he has shown you or not shown you thus far this season?
No, I'm not worried, simply because he's like a redshirt rookie. I'm gonna give you an example. Peyton Manning, his first year, threw the most interceptions of all time by a rookie. I'm not worried at all. We know what he can do. He played well in college. Now, yes, it has to translate over. But I think we know he can run the ball. I think Shane is still kind of figuring out how to use him. It's the third week. People need to chill out. It's the third week of his technically first year. He hardly played any college football as a starter. When he did play, he played well. So I'm not worried about him.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I just got to ask,
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought up some of the same, that Peyton Manning thing is always the thing I go, Peyton Manning still and probably always will have the rookie record for most interceptions in a season. Always. But there's not everyone is going to come out and be Justin Herbert or CJ Stroud, but that's okay too.
Andrew Luck.
Light died?
Yeah, my light just died.
Oh.
Are we good? Are we good just like this, or do you need me to turn this on?
Yeah. Oh,
You
let's try to do that way. And yeah, let's get some light on you. There you go.
Is that worse? I feel like that's kind of worse because it's.
I don't know. You're kind of frozen right now. There you go.
Just this part
fine.
is okay. Okay,
It's
cool.
better than nothing.
That's fair. Okay.
All right. Who's our next person?
On to the next person, MPJ. We kind of have a theme. We just go with the same people in order every week. This time's MPJ. Last week, performed better than he has in the past weeks with 7 points. Not great compared to other wide receivers where he's projected to be. His projection at the start of the season was like 16 points. It's dropped all the way to 11 points now. But Colts do spread the ball out a lot. I like that type of offense more. Just look at what Josh Allen did with that. Now I'm not saying we have a Josh Allen, but I know could get there.
Josh Allen himself has said, "Does anybody have a stronger arm than you?" He unequivocally said, "Anthony Richardson."
Yeah, that's fair. I would say the same thing.
They'll go against each other later this season.
Yep. That's really it about MPJ though. There's not much to talk about other than I don't know if I would play him at this point with the Colts. I'm kind of with. There's only one person I would really start, and we'll get to that in a bit. And the next person is Adonai Mitchell. He went with a big donut. In my notes as the comparison, I put terrible because it's not like he was injured or anything. He played the whole game.
Yeah.
Not the whole game, but he played the majority of the game, and he got 0 balls. I don't know if he got targeted at all, but he got 0 balls.
I don't think he even got targeted.
He's projected to get 3 points, but once again, 3 points is so
terrible.
Yep, terrible. Alec Pierce next. He had 5 points this past week. Really solid from him. Obviously not as good as his other weeks, but you're not going to have those really good weeks all the time. Alec Pierce is still a solid receiver. He's projected to get what was it? 7 points this week. I don't know. I'm kind of on the edge with this one because I think he definitely could have a bigger week. But then again, he's playing a really good defense this week in the Steelers. So I wouldn't start him this week. But that's just me. You can go off your own intuition, whatever you're feeling. Next up, we have the last wide receiver in Josh First Downs. Last week, he had 5 points, being his first week back. So great for him to get that under his belt. I think a lot of people expected him to do a tad bit more. I didn't after the coming back from injury and such like that. Yeah, you expected more.
Yep.
I mean, it's not a terrible performance at all, especially coming off of injury. You gotta understand that. So my notes I put better because I mean obviously he did better than 0 point outings. So it's, I mean, there's definitely a high ceiling with Josh Downs. A lot of people in like the fantasy world like to use the word ceiling. Ceiling and platform being the lowest it can go and ceiling being the highest. There's a high ceiling for Josh Downs, and he's kind of on a low platform already, so there's really only one way to go. He's projected to get 9 points this week, so the second most from wide receivers on the Colts. Still, I don't know if I'd start him. Still fresh off of an injury.
Couple questions.
Okay.
In fantasy, when you
Yes.
talk about that ceiling in the platform, correct me if I'm wrong. What you would love to have is somebody with an already high platform and also a high ceiling. Correct?
Yes, yeah,
You
that's
don't want
correct.
somebody that has
No.
a high ceiling but a low platform. You don't want somebody who has a
No.
lot of gap there in the middle because you're looking to capitalize at your base level, but maximize if you can, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So-
Basically, how it is you want your player to have an infinite ceiling, and theoretically, all players have infinite ceilings, but there's only so much. But you got to be realistic as well. So basically, you're not looking for a ceiling necessarily. I'd say you more look for a platform because fantasy is all about consistency. So the amount of platform that you can get higher, the higher the platform is, the more consistent they are of a player, the more consistent high points they get. Especially if a player like, for example, I would say Caleb Williams as of right now. I mean, coming into the league, he had a high ceiling, but he also had a very low platform. So there's a lot of space in between there. So if you can get a high platformed player, then that decreases the amount of space in between the ceiling and the platform, which therefore increases the amount of consistency that we have. It'd be really easy if I had like a graph to show you, but obviously I don't have that. So I'm just doing my best to verbally explain it.
I get it.
So basically, a higher platform means more consistency. And in fantasy, you want consistently good players that you can count on every week.
What helps determine that platform? Like I'm thinking of, like if you are the number one absolute target, like a Justin Jefferson, could dictate that. But you also don't want to be the only target because then they can just double, triple cover you, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I think of like George Pickens is sort of that. Obviously, Van Jefferson, right? Is that?
I think so.
And then Austin came on last week, so there's some weapons, but if you have a lot of people,
like for example, the Niners last year, they obviously you choose someone from the Niners because you know they're going to get the ball.
Right.
The Niners spread the ball a lot. They have I guess the Niners aren't a good example.
Well, I mean, not anymore. Now they got Juwan Jennings.
Yeah.
I mean, Debo and Kittle.
Highest fantasy player this past week though, Juwan was. So he had 40 something points.
I told you the whole preseason he was looking like he was ready to be the number one if Ayuk wasn't.
Yeah.
And he got more work in than Ayuk because Ayuk was holding in, and so that comes to your advantage along the way.
Like, just as an example, Green Bay Packers, talented team, but they spread the ball around a lot. So you wouldn't want to necessarily have anyone there except maybe Jordan Love, like the quarterback or something like that. On the other hand, if everyone was healthy on the Bengals, Jamar Chase wouldn't be a bad option because you obviously he's getting targeted, but you can't double or triple cover him because you have T. Higgins on the other side. And you have Joe Burrow that can deliver really good balls to anyone he throws to. So some team like that, or I would say
Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
he's got that, at least from what it seems like, he's kind of got that good platform.
He does.
There's not. He's
There's
already
not many.
proven himself to be the elite guy on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But then the question is,
Who's
can
throwing
the quarterback deliver the ball? Well,
exactly. Yeah.
enough.
You got to consider all the options.
So then I'm going to put you on the spot again here. If you had to pick one of the Colts receivers against the Steelers to be in your lineup this week in fantasy, which one would you choose? Knowing the Steelers defense, knowing where they're at, knowing Alex Highsmith probably out still with a calf.
Probably Pittman.
Okay.
I think Pittman's coming off the best game of the season so far. Now, granted, it's only 3 weeks, but still the best game so far of the season. I think they're a little weak in the middle there. They have a good line. They have a good secondary. But I think
Queen?
Pitt. Yeah, but he's more of a blitzer. He's not necessarily a pass coverage guy. That was because whenever he was on the Ravens, that's what he did. And then Roquan Smith was the pass coverage guy. Now, Patrick Queen's a great linebacker, but I think they're a little bit more weak and susceptible into that sort of spot in the field, which is why I go either JFD or MPJ. But I'm saying MPJ strictly because he's coming off a better week, not coming off of an injury and stuff like that. I wouldn't say Pierce just because they have really good safeties. So I don't know how much we're going to go over the top. I would love it. We come out, run the ball 5 yards, go over to the top to Pierce, just see if you can get some. I would love that, but I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen.
I think Pierce can have a big week. I saw, I don't know if you saw that one Chargers touchdown where,
Quentin Johnston,
dude beat double coverage, right? He had a man, snaked him. Safety came down to help. It was already double coverage. It was kind of
it the rookie
zone. It was like
Is it the rookie?
Yeah.
Is it Lad McConkley?
No, it was Johnston.
Oh, Quentin Johnston. Okay.
Yeah. It was on the left side there, and he
kind of just got lost there.
They were playing a too high zone, and so corner passed him off after he juked him. Safety came down, but he was already past him.
Yeah, and Herbert delivered a beautiful ball to him too. So.
Yeah, and so I think there could be opportunities really big for Pierce there.
I think there are, but I think especially after that sort of thing happened, they're going to try and capitalize on specifically that, which might leave holes more shallow.
Yeah, but it's still Anthony Richardson who can bomb it.
It's true.
And in that same vein, don't underestimate this to be the breakout game for Adonai Mitchell. Maybe they kept him. You know how Shane a lot of times will chess weeks ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be surprised if they didn't deliver a single ball to Adonai Mitchell just because they were holding him back to launch him this week.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be.
Which leads us
That's more for tomorrow, which leads us to
our final actual person for the fantasy, which is the only person I would guarantee start this week. That being Jonathan Taylor. Last week he had 26.5 points, third best running back in fantasy. Really, really proud of him. He played great. I had him on my team, so I was really happy once he did all that. 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards, always good for a running back. He's projected to get, I think, 18 points this week. So still high, especially for a running back. If you can have a high platform running back, that's always really good, because normally running back, especially if you're in a PPR, it's easier for receivers to get those points. But if you're able to get the points as a running back, that's insane. Like Saquon had 33. Whew. I had him in both my leagues. Really happy about that. So really good really good performance from JT. I'd expect him to have another good performance, even with TJ Watt, Patrick Queen, all the big hitting secondary that the Steelers have, because we know they like to hit hard. So I would expect a big game again from JT. Either he's going to have either a big game or not a great game. We'll see.
I think one of the weakest, surprisingly weakest parts. So he left whack-a-mole. Hey, there he is. He's back.
Just grabbing my charger.
All right. Welcome back. So, I'd say one of the weakest parts, surprisingly, of the defense is their middle line. You know, they got Cam and they got Watt, but they're going to get up the field, which leaves a lot of initial space there. Especially with how good our interior line is.
Especially with Highsmith out, too.
Yeah. Leaves a lot of empty space, but not a lot of greatness on the inside to at least get to that second level. And then it's can you do a little shiftiness with Queen? And then, you know, where do you go from there with Minka Fitzpatrick and stuff like that, you know? So yeah, I'm down. JT, keep it rolling for sure.
Oh yeah. And then the last actual last fantasy is the defense. Last week they had 10 points. Pretty good outing. They let up a lot of yards, which obviously didn't help the points, but they got 3 turnovers, which helped. Still allowed over 400 yards, something like that. 330 from Caleb, I think 70 plus from the rushing game. I mean, obviously compared to past weeks, it's a lot better. They're projected to get 7 points this week. I'd say the Steelers' offense is surprisingly good, though, especially with Justin Fields at the helm. I would say still don't start him until they play a couple good weeks. That was one good week. Now you gotta wait for 2 or 3 more, or 1 or 2 more. So I would say still kind of hold back on them. I said last week, kind of hold back on them. Just to let Gus figure out what he's doing, or see if Gus is leaving. Whatever works.
They had one good week where they stopped the run like they should, and they got some turnovers like they should. But it was against a rookie quarterback who their offensive line couldn't do anything the previous week. And so it wasn't a huge shock that they couldn't do much this week to protect them. And, yeah, they still put up some yardage. Obviously not as much on the ground, but when they're trying to make up, you know, it makes sense that they're passing more and things like that. Did you a little off topic? Did you see any of the laughable clips from DeAndre Swift?
I don't think so. No.
There was one. There were 2 that I saw in particular. One, he's doing a bounce to the outside, and he's got Blackman ahead of him, and DJ Moore is blocking. DJ Moore is kind of blocking out to this side, right? Mm-hmm. And so he's got a little bit of an alley, but not quite. But he's got enough that he could pull Blackman in a little bit and then bounce outside of DJ Moore's block. But instead, he just runs right into DJ Moore.
Wow. Interesting.
You should look at it. You would find it absolutely hilarious as a running back that I know you just have that sixth sense vision that, you know, you just what makes you a great volleyball player and a great setter is what made you a great soccer player. What made you a great football player is your vision, your understanding. Like when everybody is 4 or 5 years old, kicking each other's shins while they're trying to kick the ball, you're over here just waiting for the ball to pop out.
Yep.
As soon as it does, you're like, all right, bye, gone.
I'll take this. Thank you.
So you would find it hilarious because he just literally has no vision. The other time he bounces it again, and he has an alley that he could go to. But again, he He doesn't even run his shoulder into the linebacker. He kind of works his way backwards a little bit and runs his shoulder into a defensive lineman for the Colts. Tries to.
Interesting.
Anyway, off topic, but I just found it a little comical.
That is funny.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Just, like the frustrating things it can be. But also the trouble you get into when you don't have a good offensive line,
Yep,
as
it's
a
true.
running back. So, yes, I agree. Defense needs to take a little time. We need to take a breath and see if they can repeat this performance against some different caliber, different quality, different strengths and weaknesses, defenses or offenses along the way.
Yep.
Justin Fields would be a good test for sure. This rushing attack, no matter who's in there, even if it's Patterson, right? That is in there.
They got 3 straight good running backs.
Yeah. So, and George Pickens always dangerous, but also Van Jefferson dangerous and all that. So yeah, which we will talk about tomorrow because that is all that we have for today. Wrap up this week with our preview of the Steelers at Colts. You can come back and hear why the Steelers are my second most disliked team in the NFL.
This is Liam.
And this is Kevin.
Reminding you to stay all in Colts.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.